Hello again, everyone. We are Gaming by Gaslight, and welcome back to another episode of Lord of the Rims in our Necromancer playthrough. This is our second and ideally last forever episode where I am re-recording the audio over a lost situation. Anyway, I also don't know what I'm doing over here because clearly those sidelines are also going to have to be mined out, but the general idea here is that, I figure, hey, let's restructure some of our plans for what we want to do with the hallway here, and instead of, having some weird room there, we'll just make it a hallway, connect the two sides of our little fortress, and yeah, I don't really know what that middle room's gonna be. Could be another bedroom, could be a study if we get some books, could be any number of things, really. And yeah, I wanted to see if I could help our prisoner out a little bit by giving her a meditation spot, but I don't think she ever ends up using it. And also, because we're not savages, we're going to, try to maybe create a couple of prisoner beds, make sure that future prisoners, apparently we're planning to have a couple, they'll be given more luxurious accommodations. I am kind of thinking it might be a smart idea to try to have divided cells. That way, if we do have a bunch of prisoners in the future, they can't all conspire together to prison break. The handy thing, from what I understand of the game mechanics, is that if people are in, or prisoners are in different rooms, then they won't necessarily all prison break together. A couple of them might, but if they're, Of course, then again, I don't even know if they're all in one room, they might not all decide to prison break anyway, but I think if they are all in one room, it's more likely that, hey, they'll notice, hey, one guy is breaking out, let's all join in. Or something like that. That's at least how I choose to interpret that anyway. It also occurs to me, I normally like geysers, but since this whole area is going to be our farming area, and we can't really do much with a geyser anyway in a medieval playthrough. I mean, that's not entirely true. We could wall it up and then use it to like vent heat into the mountain in some fashion. But yeah. Anyway, who knows what that could be. The point, I think, the plan is we're running short on time to do some of these quests, so we're probably going to have to split the party and, send one group. We're going to send Dunsig off to the item stash because we're not anticipating too much resistance there. And I really need to remember to not let this auto supply us when we're dealing with non-human races. That's always a little bit of a problem there, to be honest with you. And I'm not actually sure what the problem with that is. I guess it's just because different races have different nutrition calculations. You'd figure it would be simple as just, oh, they have 0 nutrition, so they don't get factored in, but I don't know how that's implemented, so either with the humanoid alien races or with the official side of things that does those calculations. It's a bit unfortunate because just remember that if you're playing with alien races, be careful when caravanning, because there is always the possibility that you might end up crashing your game as the auto calculator for supplying your caravan attempts to provide you with food, and just doesn't work out. Be careful about that. Anyway, and while Dunsig is gone, before we leave, we're trying to fancy things up a little bit. I kind of like this smaller brick and then larger brick kind of thing. That's going to be the kitchen, of course, once we eventually decide to move stuff in there. And I'm also thinking I want to really, really go overboard with the decoration. We're going to have silver. If we add access to more gold, excuse me, we'd probably make golden candelabras. But you know what? Silver is just fine for the time being. The important thing is, as long as the room is lit up, it's beautiful, it's ridiculously impressive. Yeah, I like it. I mean, this whole thing, big, grand structure there. Meanwhile, there's also the question of what do we do with Wanda here when we go off? Because like I said, we're going to almost certainly have to send the group that we've left here to go deal with those ghouls if we want to get the rewards in time. So, I mean, I guess we'll just have to bring her with us, because I'm actually shocked I remembered to pick that option. As I believe I said before, I kind of wish there was a way to maybe not have that enabled by default. Just so I don't accidentally freeze the game. It's gonna happen one of these days. The game normally recovers, but sometimes if it's doing a lot of calculations, the poor thing just can't keep up. Anyway, yeah, at the end of the day, we're gonna bring everyone. We're gonna have a bit of a tricky time, I think, handling food, but we'll do our best. And the important thing is, we will get whatever the reward for killing a bunch of ghouls is. I think it was a bunch of hyperweave, wasn't it? Maybe. And meanwhile, the other party has arrived. I can't even remember, what was the item, or was it hyperweave here? Might have been hyperweave. I don't recall, but in any case, we're gonna get it. It's also kind of funny to me that hyperweave isn't counted as like a non-medieval material, so it doesn't get filtered out. Though, you know what, it's not such a big deal. It's a nice pleasant blue color, so anything made with it will have a nice pleasant blue. Though, to be honest with you, for theming purposes, especially if we're going to start growing a bunch of Devil Strand or similar at some point, because I'm pretty sure, well actually I'm not sure, is Devil Strand better than hyperweave? I imagine hyperweave might be better, but I do enjoy the color red, so some Devil Strand clothing might be better. We're also getting attacked by some Rottweilers. That's... honestly, in real life, that would be terrifying, but then again, all we'd have to do is hide in that shed, and we would be perfectly safe until they wandered off. Unless they didn't. Because they are manhunters, which I like to imagine means that they're rabbit. I mean, they've got this Scaria thing, which if I recall, I tried looking it up once, and I couldn't find an actual disease attached to it. It's like the name of a professor or something. But it's got to be a real disease. I mean, well, it doesn't have to be. I just presume that it is. But it could be a fictional space disease. Anyway, whatever the case, Dunsig's in a bit of trouble here. Though as long as he's riding that stag, he should be okay. Yeah, look at that. I mean, perfect. Perfectly easy. Easy stuff. I don't think we're gonna bring the Rottweiler corpses back with us. That would be a little morbid for my liking. I know, we're raising the dead, but here I am going, oh, well, I mean, we couldn't possibly butcher and eat dog meat. That would be just going too far. Yeah. That's my impression of myself. Whatever the case, though. Alright, so that takes care of this little adventure. So all we need to do is head on over to the ghouls. I hope there's not too many. Because the big problem, of course, with what we're doing is we have one living person and a bunch of undead. Which could horribly backfire, honestly. Also, a curious thing I read on the RimWorld of Magic wiki is that apparently the dead are supposed to crumble if they're not on the same tile as their Necromancer for a period of time. It must be a relatively lengthy period of time, seeing as we've had Dunsig off the map for a, you know, several days at a time. Maybe it's a season. I'm not sure. The numbers are not entirely clear. The wiki, it does have some useful information, but it doesn't always have, like, the real hard numbers for things, sometimes. At least not in the way I would like, personally. But that's just me. I do enjoy having good, solid numbers to base my assumptions off of. Not that it stops me from making wild, baseless assumptions, of course. Alright, here we go. Ghouls versus undead. Which, I mean, assuming the meat hadn't already rotted off the bones of our little army here, I mean, bunch of dead guys would be a ghoul's dream, possibly, seeing as ghouls are kind of known for being corpse eaters. I also really, really hate that our bow users keep trying to wear architect shield belts. As far as I know, shield belts can't be used with bows, no matter what. Though maybe I've been mistaken this whole time, and with an architect belt, you can also shoot arrows. I can't imagine why that would be the case, but it's an eternal frustration of mine that it keeps happening. Since they don't normally turn on regular, oh god, oh, the disease spam. It's just... oh boy, that is immensely frustrating. But fortunately, the dead do not care about infections. Though that might actually lower their efficiency a little bit. I don't think we've lost anyone yet. So that's a real testament to the power of our... oh, nope, wait, just had to speak too soon. Someone went down, but I think it is a testament to the strength of our army. Having said that, however, I do have some concerns that, I don't know. I guess... I'm not sure if our necromancy is as powerful as if we were any other spell user. You know, if we could throw fireballs and lightning and whatever at the enemy, maybe that would be a little more powerful. But I could be mistaken there. I don't know. Maybe someday I'll have to, just for my own edification, I believe is the fancy term I'm looking for, do a little test to see what like a really high-level necromancer, how they can fare compared to other magic users and non-magic users. I mean, I guess when it comes to it, the necromancer without access to corpses to raise an army is probably not going to fare very well. Unless I can teach the necromancer other spells. But, as I think I've said before, RimWorld of Magic does seem to have a pretty rigid class system. Never liked that in video games. Always hated it. I mean, some people swear by it and think, hey, you know, it's really good you have these, like, strict classes, you know, like a warrior can't learn magic and a wizard can't learn fighting maneuvers and whatnot. But personally, for me, if I were designing a system, it would be one where you could really go the whole jack-of-all-trades route if you really want it. I just, you know... I guess the difficult thing, and I know why it's done mechanically. It's because it's for game balance purposes, especially in a multiplayer setting where you want to make sure that everyone feels like they are a valuable contributing member of the party. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't see any reason why, realistically, someone would have to be limited to fitting only one rule or another. So, if I were designing a game system, it would be kind of modular for the purposes of, yeah, just letting you learn whatever combination of skills and abilities you want it. I'm also really curious to see what the ghoul victim produces. I can't imagine it's going to be anything valuable. Yeah, it's just some human leather and human meat. The classic long pork, which none of our people eat. So we'll just kind of leave it there. But you never know. It was possible, to my mind anyway, that there might be some treasure hiding in it. Unfortunately, that was not the case, but it always benefits us to take a look, just in case. And I'm apparently leaving the ghouls behind instead of making a fancy ghoul trophy. That's That's kind of a shame. We will bring our fallen comrade back so that we can revive them on returning home. Or at least revive someone. As long as we bring their body back, that's the important thing. Yeah. So overall, I think we did pretty well, and Dunsig's back home again. You know, I actually probably could have left Wanda alone in the mountain. And then Dunsig would be able to continue trying to recruit her. It's also just good social practice for him, because Dunsig has 0 social skills. Poor guy. Anyway, yeah. How much longer do you figure it's going to take us to convince Wanda that she's better off joining our awesome Necromancer army? I'm going to say probably another season, maybe 2. Maybe even 3, we will see. Hopefully not that long, but you don't know how it is. You know, really reinforcing that Stockholm Syndrome mindset takes time. And again, I find myself questioning, are we the bad guys here? I choose to believe no, we're not the bad guys. Maybe morally questionable on some things, like raising the dead. But we are convincing someone that they are... oh, this could be dangerous. Oh god, no, Confucius. Don't die, dog. That would be absolutely terrible. And also, our zombies are really, really slow, so I should continue investing in making faster zombies. Because the faster they can run, the faster they can get in formation, and the sooner, you know, they'll be ready. And oh dear. Oh dear, dear. Oh, thank goodness. It's just bruises. No serious bleeding to be seen. That could have been pretty rough. Though in general, these wild pods they're pretty durable, but I guess that makes sense because they're basically living sentient fungus. I suppose I should do something soon-ish about these giant wild pawns? No, the big ones are wild pods, the little ones are pawns, right? Yes, maybe. Whatever the case, we should probably do something about them because they do eat plants, and that could be troublesome to us. And meanwhile, we'll have Dunsig rescue Confucius there. Poor guy. Don't die on me. Alright, Heracles, you watch yourself, my friend. Just don't get into the fog of torment. That would be most unfortunate. We don't want people dying. It's funny. Our whole shtick is that we raise things from the dead, but we're also we care quite deeply about life, as it were. Of course, then again, I guess you could kind of create an interpretation of a necromancer who values life so much that in their own misguided way, their raising of the dead is in some way protecting the sanctity of life. I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of stories with characters like that, though they're usually portrayed as being misguided to the point where they become villains, whereas we're trying to thread the needle and have that very fine line where, you know, maybe Dunsig's ideology of, you know, building an army of the dead for totally pacifistic, peaceful purposes, maybe it is misguided, but at least his heart remains in the right place and he continues to try and hold some consistent morality, I guess. Something to that effect. It remains an interesting question to me anyway, how we handle this. You know, it's also really nice that we've got a master crafter for one of our undead. And it actually occurs to me, our zombies will get even better once we max out our necromancy spell, because once we have maximum fastness, then I think that'll make them move as fast or slightly faster than humans. Just baseline humans. And once we've got the maximum power thing, they'll have slightly higher base skills, which will be also pretty handy. I'm also kind of wondering if I want to place some vents here just to help with air circulation. Not entirely sure that's what I want to do, but we'll kind of investigate with that and see where we end up going. Because the mountains, they are staying pretty temperate, but there is the fact that in winter, some of these rooms do start getting cold, which is naturally not that great. And if I could figure out a way to maintain a average heat of about 21 degrees, then I think we'd be good. The solution is probably to have the hearths out in the hallways, as I believe I mentioned way back at some point, but have never actually followed up on yet. Mostly because the hearth that I already have in the Great Hall cannot be moved. It's really unfortunate. You can only deconstruct it. And no matter how good you are at construction, you can never get 100% of your materials back. It's a shame, but it is life. Meanwhile, we're holding in there. And speaking of all those fires, we do need a lot of wood to maintain our standard of living here, so we'll have to be mindful of that. We might also have to chop down a couple of these Malorn trees. I'm not looking forward to it, because they take like 1,000 years to grow. Or what did we calculate it was? There's like almost 10 Rim years, which is far longer a period of time than we're likely to play. Of course, then again, if they're growing in rich soil, or tilled soil even, that would make them faster. I'm also mildly suspicious of Passerby now, because there was an update to Alpha Animals not that long ago that adds like some kind of, in fact I think it's just straight up called a mimic. Some kind of creature that pretends to be human. And it kind of makes these like wandering, just like wandering traveler type beings somewhat more, more interesting to deal with, I guess. Is how I'll put it. Yeah. Like they have something like, they'll eat a bunch of food if you leave some out, but if you don't leave out food for them, then they'll just go ahead and eat you. Terrifying stuff, but pretty cool. Anyway, so I guess, yeah, we've still got a lot of work to do, but I think it's also closing in on that time where we say goodbye. So as always, until the next time, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget to hit that like button, or maybe leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking, and I'll see all you in the next video.